should have followed my instinct. All I wanted was to be loved. My name is Carol. I was heartbroken and I'll tell you why. Before we continue with the story, do not forget to click on the notification button in order to get notified at every new video posted. 3 years ago, I got into a relationship with a rather nice boy. His name is Philip. We went to college together and our professional lives were going pretty well. We were actually a very good match. We had the perfect love and even had plans of getting married, which aligned perfectly with the course of our lives and careers. So I told my family, who supported me 100%. I also told my best friend Lola, who was extremely happy for me. She and I had known each other since childhood, and she always had this skeptical side that made her suspicious about just everything. So when I told her that I was going to get married to my college sweetheart, she was jubilant with joy, but she also offered to do a mini investigation on my fiancé to find out if he hadn't anything to do with other women before getting married. I told her it was a bit exaggerated to do such a thing, but she convinced me by telling me that men most of the time weren't clear about the relationships they had with other women. It was necessary to know if he was really having me as the only woman in his life before committing to him. She insisted so much that I ended up giving in. I gave her the go-ahead to go digging into my fiancé's social media, even if it meant trapping him with DMs while pretending to be a girl who had fallen under his spell. Anyway, I was doing it so she would leave me alone with regard to these suspicions. Satisfied, she assured me that it would be beneficial to put Philip to the test. A month passed without Lola giving me any info about anything suspicious, and I was going ahead with the preparations of the wedding since it was going to take place in 6 months. Until one Saturday afternoon, she sent me a series of screenshots of the conversation between Philip and a certain girl. I read the conversations without really understanding what was going on. Then she called me to ask if I had seen them, and that's when she explained to me that she didn't even have to pretend to be another girl on social media for Philip to end up revealing his true face. Apparently, she had been sorting through my fiance's Facebook friends and found another girl who was dating him on Facebook. According to the words of Lola, Philip cheated on me with this girl for almost 2 years. I couldn't believe what had been revealed to me, and I asked her if she was sure about that. She assured me that yes, by giving me the name of the girl in question on Facebook so that I go ask myself. I did. I rushed to social media network and entered the search bar where I typed the girl's name. I came across her profile and wrote to her, sending her the screenshots I received from Lola. Luckily, she was online, so she answered me immediately, asking me who I was and how I managed to have the conversation that her and her boyfriend shared. I didn't need more, since she had admitted being in a relationship with Philip. My heart was broken over this revelation, so I decided to take my car and go confront Philip face to face in order to ask why he lied for all these years. Once at his house, he didn't even have the time to kiss me as usual. When I put my phone into his face asking him what these messages meant, he looked at me in astonishment, wondering what I meant. I was mad with rage, but not only because he cheated on me, but he couldn't even find the courage to confess after being discovered with supporting evidence. I ended up yelling at him, calling him a liar and a monster. He kept pretending not to understand anything, so I got fed up and broke up with him on the spot, and then I left. When I left his house, I didn't go back to my apartment. I headed for my family home. I needed to meet my mother and tell her everything that had happened. I needed her to comfort me. My heart was in tatters. Once confiding in my mom, she consoled me and asked me to stay at home until I healed and finally forget about this bad adventure. My parents took care of me, and as the week passed by, I recovered from this disappointment. While staying at home, I started going to work and regained a taste for life. Lola, I must admit, during this period also supported me a lot. She called me every single day, and every weekend we went to have lunch together in our favorite restaurant. It was then that during one of our famous weekend lunches, she told me about a friend of hers who lived in London and who, like me, was coming out of an unsuccessful relationship. She offered to put me in touch with him if, of course, I agreed. She gave me his phone number, asking me to text him and that he would be happy to talk to me. Since she had already spoken to him about me, I had even shown him some of my pictures, and according to her, he seemed to like me. I found this approach a little strange, but I know my friend Lola. I ended up telling myself that it was one of those unconventional methods of hers. I saved her supposed friend's number, but I didn't write to him. 4 days later, while I was going about my daily business, I received a message from a foreign number. On the profile photo, So there was the image of a man in his early 30s, very handsome, and especially in the background there were buildings of a different architecture from the one that I had in my city. I answered in a polite way, and from there started a rather friendly conversation. "Hi, I'm Stephen. Lola gave me your phone number." "Oh, I see. I'm delighted to write to you. I assume you know my name, knowing Lola's skills." Given the way the conversation started, we chatted by text all day long. Then the following week, we continued the conversations and to the point of getting to know each other better. With the growing familiarity, we sent each other pictures. But to keep the mystery, we mutually agreed not to make a video call, but rather wait for him to return to the country so we could see each other face to face. It was rather unusual for me because, in my opinion, the proximity was kept with the fact of being able to see each other, right? At least on video calls, but I did not object to it. We became so close that I ended up telling my mother about him, and knowing the type of disappointment I experienced, she could only encourage me in this momentum in order to better turn the page on the trauma I've had. Moreover, I felt comfortable with Stephen. I had the impression that he was exactly like Lola, but in a masculine way. I could talk to him about just anything and everything at the same time without any fear, and he was funny, understanding, and hyper attentive. Finally, after 2 months of intense conversation, he ended up asking me to be his girlfriend, and I didn't hesitate to say yes. It was just obvious. He and I made the perfect match. I gave the good news to Lola, who jumped for joy, and she was happy at my ability to establish a healthy relationship with someone else. Her reaction confirmed my decision to have chosen Stephen as a new boyfriend. The summer holidays were approaching, and Stephen had announced to me that he was going to return to spend the holidays with his family and especially with me. I was overjoyed to see my boyfriend. I started making preparations for the trips and activities we were going to do across the country. I wanted us to go see the waterfalls touristic sites in the west of the country because he had made it clear to me that he was a nature lover, and I wanted to give him this surprise and a way to seal our relationship by creating precious memories. I was overexcited making preparations, knowing that this would be an opportunity for us to create memories that would bond us a little more. 2 weeks before his arrival, he and I had an argument that had neither head or tail. My boyfriend got angry because I didn't pick up my phone when he called me during the day. He knew my working hours and knew fully well that I couldn't pick until I was out of my place of duty. The dispute lasted for 2 days, after which he decided to break up with me arbitrarily. I didn't understand anything, and I spent my weekend on the phone without him deigning to pick up. All this issue was totally strange because since the beginning of our relationship, we had never spoken in person on the phone because of his proposal to keep the suspense until we met. Not to mention that the video calls had been banned still by him. Still for the same reasons though, I did not understand this change in situations, so I called Lola to ask her if she knew something that I didn't know. She told me that she didn't know anything about it, but on the other hand, she offered me to get to her house for a coffee so that we could talk about it. So I went to her house and explained the situation to her. She comforted me, and when it was time to leave, she insisted that I stay for dinner. Since I needed a little bit of company, I accepted. So she went towards the kitchen to start prepping the food. During this time, I stayed in the living room, and in desperation, I decided to pick up my phone and call my boyfriend back, hoping he would pick up so we could finally talk. But something curious happened. A phone started ringing in Lola's room. I thought it was just a coincidence, and I kept on calling my boyfriend. The phone in the room kept ringing. I figured Lola hadn't heard the phone ring, so I got up in the direction of her room so I could take the phone to her. By doing so, I realized that the number calling was familiar. When I looked closer, I realized that it was actually my phone number. I found it suspicious, so I cut the call and I relaunched it. I got the same result with Lola's number. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I decided to search her phone to find out what she was hiding from me. While doing so, I found something more shocking. I discovered on WhatsApp all the conversations between Stephen and I. All the pieces of the puzzles came together in my head, and I realized that Lola was pretending to be Stephen. But what I didn't understand was her reasons. How would it benefit her to lie to me that much? I couldn't help myself, and I confronted her, and she denied everything, trying to make me believe that Stephen had given her permission to clone our conversations so that she could give him her impressions about our relationship. I didn't believe her, so I left her house, and a few days later I contacted my ex-boyfriend to whom I explained the whole situation, and he made me understand that since our breakup, Lola hadn't stopped making him advances, and that a month before, she had confirmed to him that I had gotten into a relationship with someone else and that I had completely turned the page with him, so to encourage him to accept to go out with her. It was then that I understood everything. Lolo had contrived everything to make me break up with him and to distract me with Stephen to be able to go out with Philip behind my back.